I was gonna put Luby's up there just because of that chocolate pie I had.
What? That's a hot take. That place sucks.
Diabolical. All right, welcome to the JoyBoyz podcast, episode 0, first one ever. 3 of us high school football coaches here sharing our stories, giving game day insights, talking about some of the behind the scenes, some locker room banter, just funny moments overall. Stay tuned with us. Plenty of laughs, plenty of memories, just a bunch of guys being dudes.
Hell yeah, that's right. That is freaking right. Well, welcome to JoyBoyz, folks. Each podcast here, we got everything from sports talk to coaching talk to, locker room banter, as Zim was talking about, sharing just funny stories from the past, from times we've worked together, things like that. And there's plenty of segments that we'll dive into, anything from top 3 to question of the day to music or movie recommendations. But the whole thing it ranges anywhere from sports to just good friends hanging out and having a good time.
Yeah, so I'm Carter Beasley, one of the co-hosts here, alongside these 2 fine young gentlemen. I grew up in Mansfield and then went to college and found my love for coaching and then started coaching, and then later on down the road met these 2 guys at the school we were coaching at. But that's me.
Zach Zimmerman. I've been coaching for 11 years now. I've coached at the collegiate level and the high school level in Texas and out of state. Really fell in love with it from the first time I jumped into it. Have been at a few different schools throughout my coaching career. But like B said, settled down with these 2 guys as of recently, and built a good bond with them to the point where we wanted to end up putting this thing together and doing all this.
And I am Riley Donovan. I've also been coaching for this will be my 10th year that I've been coaching. We've all coached together at some point in our career, but I long story short, grew up in the Houston area, came up to the DFW area for college, and made a couple pit stops around the way throughout Texas, mainly in Houston, DFW coaching wise. But at some point along the way, met these 2 fine gentlemen, and we've been able to have the opportunity to work together and create a lot of good memories together. I mean, I think kind of how most kids or most adults remember sports. You don't necessarily remember the scores of the games. When you get older, you remember just all the good fun memories in the locker room or on the bus ride home, or game planning things on the weekend and whatnot. So we're basically here to share all that as we figured out maybe about at this point a month ago, when we joked about creating a podcast and then actually did it.
Yep, sitting in the track meet, really just thinking about all the different stories that we have all the time and that we talk about, and they're entertaining to us as coaches. We figured, why not get on a podcast and have a platform that we can share those out to people who don't get to experience all that on a daily, and then really get into more of the nitty gritty about what a coaching life is actually like, what we do on a daily basis, kind of maybe talk about the amount of hours that we work at times, and just get into more detail about that. Because I think a lot of it to an outside individual goes unseen, and there's a lot that people don't know that actually goes into the job and the profession, that we could help shed light on.
For sure. I think that begs question number one. Where in your experience did you work the most? You know, obviously don't have to say the school, but like, I guess how many hours is it currently, or has it been somewhere else where you had worked? Because I think most for the, you know, like you just said, most people, especially for anybody that hears this that's outside of Texas, you know, I mean, it's, you know, high school football is religion in this state, but I mean, a typical football season, I would say we're what, anywhere between 75, 80 hours a week, 7 days a week. You know, I mean,
Easily.
you don't get a day off at all. I mean, your day off is Saturday late afternoon and Sunday morning. That's really about it. But would you say currently where we're at is where you've worked the longest hours, or maybe somewhere else?
I don't know necessarily where we're currently at. I think for me, it would be whenever I was a coordinator. Just it's different once you get that title, the amount of hours that you need to put in, watching film, on top of what you do at work. I mean, it's a lot of, obviously you're up at the office a lot for long periods of time, but then when you get home, that work comes home with you as well. And so, for me, it was when I was a coordinator.
I will say though, some of the funny stories we'll probably end up sharing throughout this podcast are those are the things that made the hours seem shorter than longer. Was just the fun times that we got to have while we were up there, um, and really times that it wasn't necessarily anything to do with football at all. It was just us cutting up, doing something funny, running with the small little bit for the entire Sunday.
Running some dumb jargon or just talking about just whatever whatever stupid thing it was that day. You know, whether it's I'll tell you the thing that I actually enjoyed the most sometimes about like Saturdays, even though like we're sitting there and sometimes we're like, man, I'm like ready to just, you know, get this film cut, tag this film or whatever and get home, is I loved when we were able to put on like the 4 football games in the big office. I always really enjoyed that. Just being able to like, and that was kind of like, it was like, all right, you know, kids are gone, you know, we're done talking about that film. You know, we're wrapping up the game from Friday. We've, you know, talked about to a degree our next opponent. And it's kind of like, all right, now's your like semi free time, you know, like we were all sitting there still tagging film and still had however many hours to tag film, but like, it was like more like just kicked back, laid back a little bit, I guess I would say.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too is the people that you're around as well.
Mhm.
When you're enjoying the people that you're around and you're enjoying the work, it doesn't seem like it's that many hours. Like when you talk to people outside of this profession, you tell them how many hours you work throughout the week, they think you're crazy, but it never feels like it's 70, 80 plus hours a week, as long as you're surrounded by the right people and you're in it for the right reasons.
100%. How many times did y'all ever take a seat back one day and we're just like on a game day and you're like, okay, you know, for those of us that would get up and, you know, get there a little early to work out or take care of whatever else, did y'all ever just sit there and be like, okay, it's, you know, 7:30 in the morning, it's 12 hours until game time, and then we still have like 5 hours after that? Like, it's like, all right, like just buckle in for about a 16-hour day that we're about to take minimum.
Yeah.
That was rough, but worth it, but fun for sure. You know, especially when we were at a place, you know, and successful too. I mean, gosh, I think that plays such a huge role in kind of where you are, you know, because I mean, obviously I think the people are important, but and when you suck, it sucks.
Yeah, for sure. Winning and losing definitely matters. And I mean, it's hard on the kids. It's hard on the coaches. It's not fun overall. It can drag for sure. So we've been blessed to be where we're at.
Oh yeah.
Donnie, what is your top 3 favorite pregame meals you've had
Ooh, is this as a coach or as a kid?
as a coach?
I mean, shoot, I guess it depends where you're at. If you're in some, not great district where you don't get a lot of money in your booster club, you're happy for just the at the place that I used to be at, closer to Dallas. Our strength coach used to call them chicken eaters. He'd be yelling at the kids in the weight room, "Don't be no dang chicken eater." And one day I just finally asked, I was like, dude, what are you like? Are you saying this to like not call him like a curse word or something? And he was like, no. And he was this like country dude from like South Alabama. He was like, no. He was like, chicken eater. They're the ones, they don't show up to practice. They don't do their workouts. They just show up on game day for the chicken sandwich. I was like, oh, okay. But that man, you were happy to get a chicken sandwich for game day in some other places, but Texas Roadhouse, we got that the first few years. Dang, I'd say that's almost 1, 2, and 3. I mean, how much better
Those
can you
rolls
get?
and honey butter.
Roadhouse? I don't know how you get much better than Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah. For me, I would say Texas Roadhouse for sure. Not sponsored. 2 Rows, also not sponsored. But 3, I think my favorite one when I was out in West Texas would be the stops at Brahms, because you would get your burger, your fries, but then they always made sure to get us a big shake for those long 3.5 hour rides home.
That's a game changer. A shake is a game changer with a meal.
Oh, it's big time.
100%.
I was gonna put Luby's up there just because of that chocolate pie I had.
What? That's a hot take. That place sucks.
Diabolical.
The chocolate pie was the best.
Are you
And
taking
Zim, you know me. You know I like
pie?
sweets. You know I like sweets.
I'll tell you what, that chicken tore me up.
Oh my gosh,
No,
I
I
can't
didn't
remember.
I don't think I ate
that was a
any
playoff game, right?
any food.
Is that a playoff game? The Lubies?
Was it
Or no, that was before
It was-
game 2.
That's right.
That was before game 2. Okay, yeah, man,
Yeah.
we went there and oh, dude, I had a date with the toilet too.
Yeah. Bees and I were in a tiny press box that day.
Ooh, see,
That
I
press box was no bigger.
behind.
I was gonna say that press box wasn't any bigger than the desk I'm working on right now. I was actually standing behind
I
Zim
forgot.
the entire game.
Y'all didn't
I
all
was
get a
standing-
seat at that game, did you?
No, we
No,
stood.
I was standing behind Zim with a clipboard.
Oof. Dang. I mean, shoot, dude. At least on the field, like there wasn't much room, dude. Like if I like had to get a kid's
Just
attention,
100
I like
yards.
accidentally might have said a word that's not in the Bible. Like there was a parent right there, like ready to hear it. Which, speaking of, that rolls to it. All right. I know I've been both. Zim, you've had to throughout your career be both. And Beasley, as according to this season, you would have been. What's better, on the field or in the box? And before, I think since Zim's got the coordinator experience, give a quick breakdown of the differences between like being in a box on a Friday night versus being on the field.
From a coordinator's perspective,
Sure.
man, being in the box was nice as a coordinator, because I've done both as a coordinator and as a position coach. As a position coach, I would want to be on the field every single time, because you're down there with the guys, you feel the emotion, you're in it. As a coordinator, it's a lot easier to make adjustments from being on the field. You can feel the game better by being down on the field. But being in the box, man, like you see it so much better. There isn't a sense of not panic, but you don't feel rushed up there. It slows down tremendously when you're up in the box. So you can see it, you can be clear-minded, and I felt like calling it was a lot easier from up in the box than it was on the field. Just having knowledge and seeing it yourself and not having to rely on somebody else giving information to you.
That's fair. That's fair. What would you, so as a position coach, what would you prefer? Field, you said, right?
Oh, I would be down for sure.
What about coordinator?
Up.
Is it more so just because you can see the back end easier?
Yeah, you can see everything easier. I mean, you can see.
Unless you have eyes like me.
True. Yeah, I mean, you're blind. You can see blocking schemes. You can see pass schemes. I mean, everything. You can see full field, and it's clear as day from up there. On the field, it's tough because a lot of times, as a signal caller, I mean, you're right there at the line of scrimmage or close to it, so that you can get those signals in, and the kids can see them. And so you don't really have the greatest vantage point to see all that stuff unfold and be able to see everything shake out. And so, a lot of the times, you're just blindly relying on other people's word, which can be good and bad. I mean, if you have good people, I was fortunate enough to have good people always.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Bees, what do you got? Because you had both in one season.
Yeah. Yeah, my first 3 years I was in the box, and then this past year I was in the box for part of the season and then came down to the field. And I kind of have to agree with Zim there. I think you're in the trenches on the field, or it feels like you're in the trenches. You can feel the emotion. You know, you get to talk directly to your players. It's there's nothing like the adrenaline rush of being on the field when there's a big play, and you know you're on the right side of that.
For sure.
I think that's a better word for it too, the adrenaline rush. I mean, you get a huge adrenaline rush when you're down on the field, and I think that's more so what you feel instead of, I said panic earlier. I think the adrenaline rush is really what you're feeling. And when you're up in the box calling it, you're
away from the
so far
emotions.
removed from it that you don't get any of that.
Yeah, the emotions are definitely lighter if you're in the box. I mean, I think anybody would. I mean, hell, I love the field too, but there is the perks to being upstairs. You know, I mean, number one,
Food.
easily, I think when weather sucks, boy, is it awesome to be up there. I remember we had a game a couple of years ago out in Greenville, and it was like it was cold, it was raining, it was windy. And I mean, that thing's a freaking monster to get up to the box in the first place. But oh, dude, you go, and I mean, you know, they weren't the greatest team that season. So, you know, it's halftime and, you know, you're up by 30 or whatever. And you just roll back up there and they got a little bit of food up there. You know, take off your jacket. You can be in a t-shirt, and everybody else, you're just watching down there, you know, like, hey, how's the weather down there? Like, it sucks. You know, like, it's awesome when the weather's bad. It's great to be up there. And, you know, at least before COVID, you know, when they used to put out food in the box, you know, that was pretty fun. But I mean, I really don't know what other benefits, as a position coach at least, there would be to being up there, unless you just want to put like a young coach up there, maybe just to give them like more of, like, I don't know, like an analytical perspective on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
What's the best box that you've ever been in?
ooh, Prosper. Prosper's got a pretty nice one, man. That one's kind of hard to beat.
What food did they have?
They didn't. It was post-COVID. But no, or wait, no, they had Chick-fil-A sandwiches actually, and then they had like some snacks. But that was one of the few places that actually had food. Like, because the first, you know, the current place we're at, the first, what was it, 2 years I was in the box, and I think Prosper might have been the only place that had food. Like, there was something to do with COVID where they just like cut food in the box, or they just were like, oh, here's where we're gonna, you know, save money. We're not gonna feed the coaches who work hard.
I was going to say Prosper too. And that box is nice.
Yeah, that one is nice, dude. It's hard to beat that one. I don't know. Crowley was pretty nice too. Crowley ISD, that new stadium they built, that one's not too bad. I was in what looks to be, so there's an away box in Dayton, Texas. This is like East Houston, like out in the woods. And they have a home press box. If I remember correctly, they have a home press box and they have an away press box. So like the home stands like is your side, and then the away stands is, or I mean the home stands is where the home team is obviously, and then the away coaches we would have like our own box separate, and it basically was like a glorified deer blind. Like it was not the greatest, but it was unique.
I think the best I'd ever been in is Texas High, Texarkana, Texas.
Was that Texas High though, or was that that wasn't Texas High? Are you talking about the playoff game we had last year?
No. I went to Texas High previously.
Okay. Because I was gonna say
Played
that
at
game
Texas High. And now the press box isn't the most glamorous, but there wasn't a single bit of store-bought food in that press box.
Oh, hell yeah.
Pies, fried chicken, casseroles. Like, you wanted to take a nap during the second quarter at that game.
Dude, you get into like the freaking big thicket over there, man. Like, eats the freaking pines. Dude. Like, I would get out of shape so fast living over there. I just
That's how it was.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Texas too. It was home cooked meals at every single game up in that press box.
Oh, see, that's where I'm like, yeah, put me on the field. Keep me away from that. Dude, that kind of, but when you go to like the small towns, man, that's really fun. And not even just football, dude, like track meets. Like, I mean, hell, we coach in the suburbs for the most part, but, any of us that have, coached in a smallish town or a town that's not technically a suburb just yet, like, they still got that small town lifestyle. Like, dude, what I always forget, hospitality rooms for track meets. I mean, shoot, here in the suburbs, it's just like, all right, here's your, Chick-fil-A sandwich or whatever, which it's free. So I'm not necessarily knocking it, but at the same time, I'm like, dang, man, like I can go to like Huffman, Texas, an hour outside of Houston, and they were serving, dude, no joke, they served jambalaya. Like it was like a quarter of the room was just straight Cajun food. So I'm like, all right, not trying to knock the school that's right next door to us, that's 6A, like, can we get something better than a dadgum Chick-fil-A sandwich? Like, come on.
You want to talk about some fire hospitality rooms? Go to some wrestling meets. They are always fire.
But do they hold them at high schools or at like convention centers or whatever?
No, high schools. They'll open up gyms, sometimes multiple gyms.
Huh.
But it's always home cooked.
I guess I never knew that. Maybe Lead Daddy got himself some of those home cooked meals wherever they're going for them wrestling meets.
I'm sure he has.
Where did you coach wrestling at? Was it up in like West Texas?
West Texas for a year.
Okay. Did you know what you were doing?
Absolutely.
Full
No,
Nelson.
I had no idea. Had no clue, but I
RKO.
learned quickly. And we had a kid who was really freaking good, and he made it to state. So
Hell yeah.
I had absolutely nothing to do with it. Let me put that on record.
You just cheered him on.
Yeah, I was just along for the ride.
Were
Just
you in a
trying not
suit?
to mess them up. You had to dress up for state, yes. Other than
Did
that,
you
no,
really?
it was pants and a hoodie. Yeah.
Oh, dang. I didn't know that.
Yep.
It's like
Everybody
coaching
dresses
basketball.
up for state.
See, dude, that would suck. That's the one thing, like, I've never ever coached anything besides football and track. So like and obviously like, yeah, football, you wear, a polo, but depending on the coach, maybe you could wear a pullover or whatever. But, those are like two of the easiest sports, like where you don't really have to dress up much. Like, basketball's got to dress up, volleyball's got to dress up, baseball, you look like you're about to play. Golf, fairly dress up to a degree, but I mean, it's that, fancy sport in a way. But it's like track and football seem to be like the two most laid back dressing sports. I didn't know. I had no idea. I thought wrestling, you just wore whatever the hell you wanted.
It'd
For
be
most of it,
interesting.
yeah.
It'd be interesting in wrestling if you had to dress like the wrestlers as a coach.
Yes.
I'd like to see you in that, Zim.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've seen
hell
enough wrestling coaches to know that nobody wants to see that.
Oh, dude, I could imagine. Yeah, just like a dude with a little bit of Dunlap disease. Just like, you know what Dunlap disease is, Beasley?
No.
His belly Dunlapped over his belt. Okay, here we go. I was thinking of this. So we've all kind of coached in different, like Bees, I would say you've been semi-central Texas. You've been over west, Zim. I've been down the Houston area. We've all been Metroplex. Where do you think the best like high school area is to coach? Like just based off of like your overall just thought, like in like athlete level, facility level, community backup, like admin, like where do you think the best place is?
I mean, I think it's DFW hands down. You look at the
Yeah.
facilities that are popping up left and right in the DFW area, the amount of talent that's in the DFW area. I mean,
True.
I think you could argue that Houston could rival DFW in talent, but they're not getting all the facilities that DFW is popping up every year.
They also have hurricanes though.
True.
It feels like an arms race in the DFW area for
For sure.
indoors, Coliseum-like stadiums. I'd have to second the DFW area.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. As much as I hate to say it, I think the DFW to a degree does kind of have a hand on that. Now, I want to say this, Bees, because I know there was something that I read in Dave Campbell's, and it was basically talking about like what area in Texas like produces the most like collegiate athletes. And I mean, Beasley, because I know because you went to school down there, but according to this, now I have to find this source to make sure I can back it up, but I remember reading this like maybe a year ago. If you look at all the statistics from 1A to 6A, according to Dave Campbell, I think it was Dave Campbell, the College Station Bryan area has the most talented, like per capita producing schools in the state.
I mean, I can believe it for sure.
I mean, they're adding like, small little 1 and 2A teams that are from your area, all the way up to, Bryan High School and College Station High and A&M Consolidated and those kinds of schools.
Because if you lump like Franklin High School into that, which is just like an hour, maybe less than north, I would definitely agree with that. Like if you lump those small ones around it.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a dynasty.
A little bit. I don't know. I think if you go, this may be an off because both of y'all said DFW. I might have to go East Texas. I don't have as far as producing, like maybe athlete wise, they might not. But I mean, you look at places from like Chapel Hill to Longview to Texas High to Lufkin to, you even kind of look at like maybe some older Carthage. Hell, I mean, one of the biggest dynasties in the state. Some good years. Glendale's had good years, I mean, like East Texas, they're pumping some things at the Pleasant Grove, which is also in Texarkana, like, they got some freaking dudes out there. Kilgore, who made it to state this past year. They lost to Salina, but like, East Texas has it. They may not have the facilities like y'all were saying, which is fair. But I mean, as far as just like, the whole town is backing up those teams and admin is loving those coaches.
That's the thing that I would like to experience, because you hear stories, especially a guy not being from Texas, you hear what the atmosphere is like out in East Texas at those games and in those communities. And like when you think of Texas high school football, like that's what I envision. And I just want to experience it once.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lufkin High, that so many people come out to the games. The home fans sit on the home side, and they also sell tickets for them to sit on the away side.
They did that when I was a
And
junior when we played them.
I scouted a game there early on in my career, and I forget who they were playing. I think it was New Caney Porter. And they parachuted the game ball in. They had someone parachute in with an American flag and the game ball onto the 50-yard line
That's
in Lufkin, Texas.
That's Texas high school ball. No, but that's true, dude. Lufkin was in my district when I was in high school, and we played them my junior year. And this is when John Outlaw, the legendary coach, was still coaching there, and it was a sold out game. It was for the district championship. It was the last game of the season. And I remember my dad telling me that like the next day, he was like, yeah, like we were sitting next to like a bunch of Lufkin fans. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, he was like, they sold out the entire home side. And we found out when we got there, there's like, I don't know the percentage of it, but like they definitely sell tickets on the away side too.
For sure.
But I don't think there's even another high school in Lufkin, like even like a private school that could rival it. I could be wrong, but it's not like I don't know, like Tyler. Tyler's got like 3 high schools, but either way, yeah, that's definitely Texas high school ball right there. But that would be fun. But the big thing is, you go there. Depending on where you're at, they're not gonna realistically they're not gonna pay, the way the DFW does. So that would be the only thing that would kind of hurt you.
Yeah, cost of living's different.
Yeah, absolutely. But it'd be fun, if you were like a millionaire. If you had, say you hit the lottery tomorrow, but you still had to work a job. I don't know. What's the Texas lottery right now? Like 250 mil?
Let me look it up.
Or the Texas Grand, whatever it's called. It's obviously in the hundreds of millions. But say you won that tomorrow, but you still needed a job on paper, what would you do?
353 million is what the Powerball's at right now.
Yeah. Okay. So say you won that tomorrow, but like you still needed a job. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna move?
Podcasting.
What?
I'm finding a place that'll let me volunteer coach.
Yeah. Would you move? Like, would you go to like a little small town and get that year experience?
I don't know if the small town lifestyle is for me.
Really? I mean, you went to college in a small town, super small town.
Yeah, it was super small. But I don't know. I've always been by a big city. West Texas is the smallest we've ever been.
That's wild. I mean, shoot, there's nothing to do out there. Depending on what West Texas area you're in. There's a couple of West Texas cities.
There's a lot to do in El Paso.
Okay, how about this? Going on the same ball. If you won the Texas Powerball, what's the first 1 to 3 things you're doing with that money?
Pay off my car.
One right answer for number 1.
What's the right answer?
For number 1?
There's only one right answer. Number 1, you got to buy land. Dude, that's what I'm doing.
I don't know that's everyone's number 1.
Yeah, we're not making any more of it. And, hey, the price of land is only going to keep going up. It's an investment.
It is a good investment for sure. You got to make sure that you're buying the land in the right spot, though.
What if it burns down?
Well, it'll grow back. Eventually.
Donnie's going to buy a swamp.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy something out in East Texas where it's just like small. It's basically Louisiana. It'll never catch on fire.
You
Buying
can't build
land
on.
number one though, for sure. For sure, gotta buy land.
I'd probably invest it in some businesses.
All of it.
Good portion of it, probably. Get some passive
What'd you do?
income.
What would you do with the rest?
Mm,
Would
I
you
would
buy like
definitely buy.
house?
I would definitely buy something fun with it.
Like
Not
what?
maybe like a lot of it, but I would. There would be a hard. It would be hard for me to win $350 million and not buy something stupid with it. At least one
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. You got to have some stupid purchase.
Exactly.
would
I
say-
agree.
What if man, I'm trying to think 'cause I don't know what I would do. I'd buy land for sure, but I don't know what else I would do. I'd probably do something to help out my parents. I don't know, like paying back for whatever money they've had to spend on me and whatnot throughout the years, or like when I was a kid. Maybe give them like a nice little lump sum. Do what?
I think my stupid purchase would be buy a lake house on a boat.
Mm,
Dude, that would be sweet.
That's where
I
I'm
think
putting
I'm.
the money.
I
Then
think
I'm
I would get a
investing.
beach house.
Oh, okay. So would you say you're a lake house guy, Zim? Since you didn't grow up by a beach, so are you a lake house just by?
I mean, we had Lake
Didn't
Erie.
have. Yeah, well, that's not ocean though.
Yeah, but it's a huge lake. It might as well be.
Yeah, but like there's something else on the other side.
Can't see it.
I mean, there's something on the other
I
side
get
of
it.
every ocean.
I get it, but if you're going off the actual geographical base, it's definitely a lake. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, if you buy a house on Lake Erie, is it considered a lake house or a beach house?
Good question. I mean, I think by definition it would have to be a lake house, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when people talk about it, they talk about going to the beach.
That's weird.
It is.
That is interesting.
Like, so you go to the beach at Lake Erie. I mean, I guess there's beaches on lakes all the time, you know, those like man-made ones or whatever, but still. Like, is Lake Erie the biggest one?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I know I do. I remember learning in history the acronym to remember all the lakes. I can name all the lakes.
Okay, let's see it. I can check you right here.
Okay, here you go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
About to hit you. Come on, man. I'm a history guy. You know, you should know this. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior.
Okay, which one's the biggest?
That's what I don't know. I think it's Superior or Michigan.
Michigan. Zim, what do you think?
Which one's
Wait,
the biggest?
I think, did you just say it?
No, I didn't just say it.
Is it Michigan?
It's Lake Superior.
Oh.
Now I don't know if I'm supposed to believe. Can we check with intern Craig? Can he let us know if this is right or not?
Intern Craig needs to look it up. Okay, Donnie.
It is Superior. Okay. What's up?
Donnie, if you were going to get rid of one state,
Ooh,
what state would you get rid of?
this was question of the day in my class the other day. I said, I mean, this could be uneducated, but I said West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of like.
You get rid of the
methods.
Blue Ridge Mountains?
Sure. I think there's like, but here's the thing: is it okay? Or if you're taking away this state, are you taking away everything? Like, are you taking away the economy of the state? Are you taking away the people of the state?
Everything in it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like
Okay,
every
you're
time
not killing anybody by
No,
doing
but you're
this.
not killing, but you're just they're evaporating or leaving or whatever. I feel like every time I turn on like one of those shows about like, you know, addicted, needing to get better or whatever, it's always like some meth head in West Virginia. So I just feel like, maybe it's okay if they're not here.
I think
Plus,
I love you, West Virginia.
Economy. What's West Virginia's economy besides like ginseng or whatever the hell that is?
WVU.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
all
do
they
have
do
a-
is what throw couches out the windows when they win football games.
And burn them.
I mean, that's kind of cool, but
What
still,
is it? That's Morgantown, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially Pennsylvania.
No, not even close.
no, that's you're thinking of Marshall University. Marshall's right on the border of some state, one of the states.
I think I would get rid of just for the fact that it probably like you could get rid of like something in your house and you wouldn't really miss it. I would probably say Rhode Island.
A lot. Okay. That was a popular answer.
It's small.
It's very
Why
small.
would you get what? So, are you getting rid of it just because like people wouldn't notice?
Yeah,
Or
I
like,
mean, I probably wouldn't notice if Rhode Island went missing.
if they just floated off into the sea one day?
Yeah, it wouldn't really change like you got to think about like we wouldn't really have to rebrand our country because it's not necessarily going to change the shape of our country a whole lot. Like if you got rid of West Virginia, now we're going to have a massive lake in the middle of our country.
Yeah, that'd
If
be
you
a
get rid
pretty
of
cool.
Rhode Island, like it just kind of like cuts off a little bit.
You just like throw it to the Bahamas? Does it just become a part of the Bahamas?
I don't know where it goes. It might just float off. What, the
Like,
Bermuda Triangle's over there?
How far is this state/island in question? How far does it go?
I mean, what would be the first thing it would hit if it floats away? Europe?
I mean, if it's that north,
I'd have to pull up a
Yeah.
current map of the current.
I
for
mean,
the
it's pretty
Atlantic.
north, so I mean, it would have to
I
go
don't know where
far
it would
south
take it.
before it hit Bahamas, or it would
You
just
think
hit
it would go
like,
south? I was thinking it would kind of go east.
well, if it
towards
went
Europe.
east, it would hit like Portugal. That would probably be the first place it would hit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rhode Island becomes Portuguese. Zim,
Could you
what do you?
imagine going to sleep in Rhode Island and then all of a sudden you wake up and everyone around you is just speaking Portuguese?
Like, dude, what happened? Como se llama?
I don't think that's Portuguese.
That would be interesting. Okay, so we got West Virginia, we got Rhode Island. Zim, where are you going?
Man,
Hmm.
I would say, maybe one of those states with all that land and not a very high population. One of the Dakotas or Montana or Wyoming.
What's
Yeah.
the state where there's more cows than there are people?
I think Wyoming.
Wyoming.
I think so. But Wyoming's also like beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that's the one, like if I'm going to take out one of the, super least populated states, probably would do like, I guess one of the Dakotas,
You're
or
gonna take out Mount Rushmore?
that's true. Maybe Minnesota. No, that's Great Lakes. Wisconsin. What's so great about Wisconsin?
Cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah.
You don't like cheese, Donnie?
I love cheese, but
But
you're not gonna
get
have
rid of
not all of it comes from Wisconsin.
the majority of it.
I don't think that's true.
Let's
I
ask
could
him
be
to
wrong.
Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask
And then-
intern Craig. Get him to figure it out. But that
How
would be
much
good.
cheese
The
does
answer for next
Wisconsin
episode.
Wisconsin could be okay though. Or I mean, yeah, maybe. Okay. Well, how about this? If you're going along the same piece, so you got the states that you're good to dip out of. I guess what is the next? Because I think it's without a question. I mean, unless there's any debate, I don't think any state has better high school athletics than Texas does. And maybe people that have a different belief on that is because they just don't necessarily know, but for any of the people that would be listening that have no idea of what Texas and the athletic programs and just the facilities, like, you know, I would say what a majority of DFW, whether you're good or not, have an indoor facility. Any team that is like really good, that is like considered in the top rankings of East Texas or West Texas and Austin area, all have indoor facilities. You know, and for people that don't know, like, that is like common to us, but that is like what other states think as like you have to get to college before you see that, which is bizarre because like I've never seen. I mean, some of the weight rooms that some of these schools have, dude, is like ridiculous, and these are high school weight rooms that this money's like being pumped into.
Well, not even just college, like big time college is what you have to go to in order to rival or be better than some of the facilities that these schools, these high schools have here. Like, you're looking at JUCOs and D2 programs and D3 programs that have a tough time recruiting kids out of this area because their facilities, in comparison, don't stack up.
Yeah,
And probably
for sure. I think that's probably, I mean, hell, I mean, do you say that that's a problem, or do you just say that's just how much different and maybe better the athletics are out here? Because I mean, shoot, I remember kids from high school that like that when, you know, we you know, like our football season ended or whatever, and these kids went off to go play football that didn't get Division I offers, and they go to like a D2 or D3 school, and they end up back, you know, they transfer out and they end up going to, you know, like a big D1 university to just be a student. But it's like they transferred out because they went from a high school, fantastic weight room, fantastic indoor facilities are all freaking awesome, having all this money within their booster club, and then they go, and not even on top of that, and you have tons of fans at your games. You know, I mean, like, you know, certain good schools in Texas, you know, I mean, you could easily pull 10K a game, especially in those small towns. And then you go off to some school in Delaware that 2,000 people show up on a Saturday. You're like, what? Like, more people were watching me when I was 16 years old. Like, it's wild, man. It's wild. How about top 3 college uniforms?
what about just color schemes?
What do you mean by color schemes?
So, like, what is your favorite color combination that a program has?
Oklahoma State. I like theirs. Like the orange, black, and white.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. Except for the stupid Pistol Pete. When they put that big old Pistol Pete on the head, I hate that. But like
You
everything
like
else,
brown
they do.
orange?
Dude, it just looks like just clean to me. I just like it. I've always liked it.
I think I gotta go with kind of that Carolina blue, baby blue, and white.
It's clean
Mm.
for sure.
I think
Good.
a lot of stuff you can do with it, or
Yeah,
just
I've always-
red and blue.
Red and blue.
Yeah,
Who's red and blue?
Ole Miss.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I like the baby blue better.
Baby
Ole
blue.
Miss baby blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the
Miss.
Tulane baby blue.
Yes, that's a good one. Their color scheme is good. I like that one a lot.
Maroon's
theirs?
not bad.
It's not
Maroon.
great.
Yeah,
It's
maroon's
not
off.
bad though.
Mm,
Not the
I mean,
best.
can you really name a great? I mean, both schools that have maroon that are college are like, you know,
What would be your least favorite color scheme?
maroon.
Maroon and anything.
I think
I like Delaware.
anything that kind of factors in a brown.
Bowling Green is just right out.
Yeah, Bowling Green is out.
Yeah.
What about
And
Wyoming?
this might be a hot take. Like, I think USC is kind of out in my opinion. Like, the dark red and yellow just doesn't really go together for me. And I know it's kind of a classic, but
Yeah,
I don't really like
there
it
with you.
either.
I agree. But what about Wyoming brown?
Yeah, see, I'm not really in on that either.
I like it. I like Wyoming's brown. I don't like Bowling Greens. Like green,
I think
brown and orange look more like it looks like they just crapped all over their uniforms. Like Wyoming, like the yellow kind of accents the brown and like I don't know. It just looks nice.
Maryland's helmets, I'm not big on either.
I like when
The
they went to the
Maryland state
Terps.
flag.
Yeah, the flag is stupid. When they went to the Terps, the script Terps, that was sweet.
Okay, Donnie, follow-up question.
Okay.
What is a terp?
A tortoise, turtle.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
A terrapin, yeah. I didn't know that until I looked at their uniforms from a while back. Apparently, I think they used to put a turtle on their helmets.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know
That'd
if that's
be cool.
a power move or you just lose every game.
If they made their helmet look like a turtle shell.
That'd be awful, piece.
No?
Yeah, no. That's almost like putting that leatherback helmet that A&M did a couple years ago. That was dumb.
I don't remember them doing that.
Look it up. Just type in A&M leatherback helmet. It looked pretty awful. I think A&M did it.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't great. This is a pretty bad look.
Yeah, I saw them walk
I
out to
don't
that.
get why you would. The Giants did this a couple years ago. They got like brown pants. Why would you think throwing anything like, let's get these new uniforms and let's mix them up a little bit and excite the fans. Let's pick the 1930s to replicate our uniforms after.
Yeah,
The Steelers do that.
With their Bumblebee uniforms.
Yeah, those are awful.
The ones where it's like stripes this way or whatever.
They're awful.
I was just like, what is this?
Because
made no sense.
There's probably not many fans that love those uniforms.
No,
I would
'cause
venture
none
to
of them
say
are
the players probably don't like wearing those uniforms. To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to do it.
No, it's like a dumb marketing scheme or something like that. But
Yeah, no one's buying those.
No, I wouldn't.
Except there's one throwback in the NFL that is the greatest throwback of all time.
Which is
Oilers, yeah.
I know you're gonna say that.
That is you can't disagree. That is such a just
it's a good uniform.
Color scheme, the oil derrick, that thing is pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah, I think the Texans kind of ruined that look whenever they tried to tap into that.
Yes, the H thing. Yeah, that was good.
I think it fell flat.
It did. Well, the thing is, I mean, when the Titans bought the Oilers and moved to Nashville or whatever, and then they kept the naming rights. So they won't let the Texans wear the Oilers uniforms or whatever. I'm like, that's so stupid. Then let's go back on every name. Like the Dallas, the Kansas City Chiefs used to be like the Dallas Texans or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so many different names of what used to be what. I'm just like, whatever, that's stupid. But
yep.
Here we go. All right, this is a complete different segue, but this was, I was thinking of this earlier today. What is, if you could think of, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be current place, it could be anywhere. What's one of the more just hilarious, just kid stories that has come across your mind just in your years of experience?
Kids that we've coached or our personal kids?
Coached, that you've taught, like, yeah, no, not kids, like your own, but like just in the classroom or on the field, just funny instances that just like, I don't know, there may be people that aren't within the education field, like don't expect or don't think of, or like even parents. Cause I mean, I don't know how many parents come home and are like asking their kids, like, hey, how was your day at school? Or, is it the Napoleon Dynamite worst day of my life? Or, I mean, what's going on?
Well, I don't have kids, so.
I think Beasley, have I told you a story about when I was student teaching in the DFW area when I was in college, and I told you that my student teacher, he was an old dude. He actually has three kids. They all played in college, all Division I, and one played for the Patriots for a long time. But he, how do I word this? It's unprofessional to call a kid stupid or an idiot, yada yada, insert word. So he used to call the kids generals, and depending on their stupidity level in his mind was what stars they got. So I'm in my first week of student teaching. I haven't taught a class. I'm just learning how to be around the classroom. And again, like, this was when I was, in kinesiology in college, so like, I'm not actually in the classroom. Like, I'm in a PE class, and so you got kids that, that range from, the freak kid that knows how to throw the football 50 yards already to like somebody who can't even walk and chew gum at the same time. And this guy's just rolling through, and he's like, "Oh, yep, 5-star general over there, 3-star general right there, here's a 1-star general, he's okay, whatever." Just like, dude, what is going on? Like, is this what teaching is about? Like, just like herding cats for 7 hours a day? This was middle school kids, so it was just bizarre, because I spent, of the semester, you spend the first 3 months. I spent the first 3 months at an elementary school, and then I spent the last 3 months at a middle school. I don't know why they did that, because I was planning to be in the high school level, but whatever. Yeah, that was one of the more interesting, just like, intros into like teaching. It's like, oh yeah, don't call the kids idiots, you can call them generals, and however stupid they are, add a star.
I don't have any stories like that.
Well, I mean, even just like from kids, like from a kid's perspective, like, or just like something that happened in the classroom or whatever. Zim, you got zero stories, or I mean, either of
none that I can think of that I could share publicly. No. Let's talk about where everyone will be able to find this podcast going forward. Talk about our release date a little bit. What day we plan to release our pods on, how often we plan to release our pods, just so that people know where and when they can find us going forward.
For sure. Bees, you want to hit them with the social media?
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at JoyBoyz Podcast. All under case. No
with
spaces.
JoyBoyz with a Z.
Yeah, JoyBoyz with a Z podcast. And we're on Instagram, Twitter, or X. Sorry, not Twitter, X, and YouTube.
And if you're into audio only, you'll be able to find our podcast on Podbean, Spotify, as well as Apple Podcast going forward. As far as release dates and times, we plan on releasing every other Tuesday. first thing in the morning. So every other Tuesday, you'll be able to get onto our YouTube, our different podcast sites, whichever podcast site you prefer, and you'll be able to find us on there. Bees, why don't you talk about if our listeners would like to ask questions or maybe give us some top 3 suggestions going forward, where they can do that.
Yeah, if you want to reach out to us and shoot us your top 3 topic that you'd want us to give our top 3 on, or a question of the day, or you have a funny Reddit post you want us to read. Really, we're open to a lot of ideas, but you can reach out to us on the YouTube comments. You can reach out to us direct message on Instagram and Twitter. Did I miss anything else, Zim?
Nope.
Just
I think
those.
that's about it.
Yeah. But yeah, reach out to us on those, and we'll get back to you. And then maybe we could feature it on our podcast and kind of talk about it and give our opinions on your topic.
Cool. Well, I think that was a good introductory into us. A little kind of preview about what we're all about and what we hope this podcast can grow into going forward. Hopefully with involvement from all of you guys at home listening, we can grow this thing into something special and create a following and make this thing enjoyable and entertaining for everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like, subscribe, tune in, comment anything you want us to talk about, chat about, rank, anything along those lines. And last but not least, as we do have it on the intro, our podcast is sponsored by Imperial Roofing and Construction. They're a local Dallas-Fort Worth roofing and construction company. Great people. It's a small business. They also do work in West Texas. They do work in Austin. They do work in Houston. So for anybody who needs any sort of roofing repairs, any sort of roofing replacements, or anything that really deals with the outside surroundings or roofing of your house, give them a look. They got over 500 reviews on Google reviews, and every single one of them is 5 stars. So they're good people.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Imperial Roofing.
Thank you, Imperial Roofing. All right. We'll see you all 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Peace out, fools.